thoughts on where were the key areas where you felt that test was lost?
I think you look from a batting point of view. I guess to be in the position we were after the first innings, to be 5 down for not many at all. I guess with bowling England out for such a low total, which we thought at the time, we weren't able to capitalise on that opportunity, and even from a bowling point of view, we had opportunities throughout both innings, which we weren't able to capitalise on, and again from a batting point of view, we weren't able to build partnerships that could get us reasonably close or to parity, and then maybe above, and if that was the case, then things may have been slightly different in that fourth inning. So I guess a little bit of both from a bowling point of view. Opportunities missed through, I guess, catches, as we're well aware of, but an opportunity from a DRS point of view as well. In such a low-scoring game, sometimes those moments are a little bit bigger in the context of the game, and unfortunately, I guess we weren't able to capitalise on them.
How crucial were those drop catches given the low-scoring nature?
Yeah, again, when you come up against England, who are a quality side, sometimes games, there's those fine moments or those moments in a game, that can swing a test match, either way. And with the game being so short, I think those small moments sort of, are really important. And we just weren't able to capitalise on them, unfortunately.
And how would you assess the pitch?
Yeah, that question was coming.
Look,
I think heading into the test match, I guess both sides and the curators, I'm sure they didn't think the wicket was going to play like that, and we certainly didn't think the wicket was going to play like that from a duration point of view. There's been under 2 full days of cricket played on that surface, and and saying that both teams had the same conditions, pretty much throughout the whole test match, and it wasn't ideal. It's obviously a great week here at Lords, and for it to play out like that is unfortunate. But as I said, both teams were faced with the same conditions, and I think you look from a bowling point of view. There were 2 quality attacks bowling on that surface, and they were able to exploit the conditions perfectly.
Is there anything you look to change technically, batting-wise?
Look, I think any time you're put in a situation where you look where you could have done things different. I know the guys are already speaking about that, whether it was an opportunity to come out and be a little bit more positive. But and saying that the ball still was doing plenty, and the result may have been the same, but whether we could have showed a little bit more intent. Certainly if we're offered it, we saw GP today. I think the way he came out and played positive cricket, it's his natural game, but put them under a little bit of pressure, and I guess if we were potentially able to do that a little bit earlier, and then things may have been different. So any time you lose, whether you win or lose, you're always looking to fine-tune things and things that you may have done better, and I guess that could have been one thing.
Finally, for me, just to point on more positive elements, what did you make of the bowling stocks and how they work together, even with Matt's batsmen?
Yeah, it was great to see. I think we understand the talent that we have from a bowling point of view, and our bowling stocks that we have at New Zealand cricket at the moment, and I guess to have the likes of Kyle and Will back from long-term injuries back into the longest format, the hardest format for them to put the work in to be back to where they are, and to see what they put on show out there this week was was hugely exciting. Both of them haven't played a red ball game for a long period of time now, and hopefully this is just the start of them just being better and better each time they get the opportunity to have the ball in their hands. So in saying that, we obviously know the experience that Matt Henry has, but I thought the way Nathan Smith was able to do what he did this week, he's had some opportunity with us, for the last sort of 12 or 18 months or so, and I think for him to bowl the way he did last week against Ireland, and to be able to back it up here, in a really special week, and to be such a threat for a long period of time, was certainly great for us, great for his confidence, and as I said, we've built a nice attack, and hopefully we can keep building on from here.
We know the strength of your attack and the the way that England have shaped up this week, would you expect runs to be at a premium throughout this series, or do you think the low scores really were a function of the pitch and just making scores really difficult for anyone to get?
Look, I certainly think the pitch had a massive part to play. As bad as we understand that the ball does move sideways, whether it be in the air or off the surface, but I think it was more the nature of the ball going up or down. We saw Bethel's dismissal. Saw a lot of guys getting hit on the gloves today. Which to me just shows that there's not necessarily the trust in the surface where you're able to trust the length that the bowlers are bowling, which keeps guys caught on the crease. And I think you see throughout the whole Test match the dismissals were either bowled or LBs, which to me shows the guys are being caught on the crease. And I think that's just a nature of not being able to trust a surface when, as I said, when balls do keep low and obviously go through the top. So, we understand next week at the Oval, a wicket will be completely different. We've seen throughout the years at the Oval, it can be a lovely place to bat. So I'm sure the batters will be hoping it will be like that.
And in terms of, obviously you've got a little bit of time to pick up and turn around, but will you be wary of picking Matt Henry again, given the struggles he's had this week, or do you hope that will resolve itself in the coming days?
I think it's a day-by-day case with Henners. I think for him to be able to come back and bowl on day 2, was a great result for us. So fingers crossed he keeps progressing the way he has from day 1 to where he is now. As I said, we've got a little bit of extra time now to hopefully get him right, and then fingers crossed we'll have a full bowling attack to pick from again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.